Picture this. You're crushing it at work. Your calendar is packed with back-to-back meetings. Your inbox has maybe 3 unread emails because you're that on top of things. You hit the gym 4 times a week, maintain your social life, and still find time to meal prep on Sundays. From the outside, you're the definition of success. But here's what nobody sees. You can't remember the last time you felt genuinely excited about anything. You're running on autopilot, and that third cup of coffee isn't just a preference anymore, it's survival. You lie awake at 2 a.m. with your mind racing through tomorrow's to-do list, even though you're absolutely exhausted. Welcome to high-functioning burnout, the silent epidemic hiding behind every promotion, every "I'm fine," and every perfectly curated social media post. I'm your host, and this is Mood Era Studio, where we slow down to speed up your well-being. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something most high achievers won't admit: that success and exhaustion aren't opposites, they're often roommates. Burnout has this reputation of being obvious. We imagine someone collapsing at their desk, or calling in sick for weeks, or having some dramatic breakdown. But high-functioning burnout? It's sneaky. It's the overachiever who never misses a deadline but can't enjoy a single weekend. It's the perfectionist who keeps raising the bar while their joy keeps dropping. And the scariest part? Society rewards this behavior. We celebrate the hustle. We admire people who have it all together. We give promotions to those who never say no. So, when you're burning out while still performing, you don't just miss the warning signs, you get applauded for ignoring them. Let me tell you about Sarah. Not her real name, but her story is painfully real. Sarah was a marketing director at a tech startup. At 32, she'd already climbed higher than most people do in their entire careers. She managed a team of 8, led 3 major product launches a year, and had a reputation for being the person who could make things happen. Her performance reviews were glowing. Her LinkedIn was goals. Her salary let her afford that nice apartment in the city center. Everyone wanted to be Sarah, including Sarah, ironically. Here's what Sarah's typical day looked like. Wake up at 5:30 a.m. Not because she's a morning person, but because she couldn't sleep anyway. Check emails before even getting out of bed, because what if something urgent came in overnight? Gym by 6, because successful people exercise, right? Shower, perfectly coordinated outfit, green smoothie she doesn't really taste while reviewing today's presentations. At the office by 8 a.m. meetings until lunch. Working lunch at her desk. More meetings, emails, Slack messages, putting out fires, managing conflicts, strategic planning, budget reviews, performance evaluations. Leave the office around 7 p.m., but not really leave, because she's still answering messages on the commute home. Dinner is usually takeout, eaten in front of her laptop, maybe an hour of Netflix to decompress, but she's checking her phone every 10 minutes. Bed by 11 p.m. Repeat. Weekends? Slightly different schedule, same exhaustion. Brunch with friends where she's physically present but mentally making Monday's task list. A yoga class that's supposed to be relaxing but feels like another box to tick. Laundry, groceries, life admin, Sunday night anxiety kicking in around 4 p.m. Now, here's the thing, Sarah was succeeding. Every metric said so. Her team hit their targets. She got promoted. She was invited to speak at industry conferences. People emailed her asking for career advice. But Sarah couldn't remember the last time she felt proud of an accomplishment. When her promotion came through, her first thought wasn't excitement, it was calculating how much more work it would mean. When colleagues complimented her presentations, she'd immediately think about what she could have done better. When friends suggested a spontaneous weekend trip, the idea of adding anything to her calendar made her chest tight. She started getting headaches 3-4 times a week. Her doctor said stress and prescribed better sleep hygiene. She tried, she really did. Downloaded meditation apps, bought blackout curtains, cut back on caffeine after 2 p.m. But lying in bed, her mind would spin. Did I respond to that client? What's the status of the Q2 campaign? Did I schedule the team meeting? Should I have handled that conflict differently? Her relationship started feeling like obligations. Coffee with her sister? Love her, but it's 2 hours she could use to catch up on work. Book club with college friends? She'd skim the book the night before and spend the whole evening thinking about her inbox? Dating? She went on exactly 2 dates in 8 months, both of which felt like job interviews where she performed the role of fun, available person. Food became fuel, not pleasure. She ate the same rotation of healthy meals without tasting them. Exercise was punishment disguised as self-care. If she missed a workout, she felt guilty all day. Hobbies? What hobbies? She used to paint, used to read for fun, used to play guitar. That stuff was collecting dust in her closet, along with the version of herself who had time for joy. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic. She was in a meeting about a campaign she'd spent weeks planning. Someone praised her work. Everyone nodded. She should have felt proud. Instead, she felt nothing. Literally nothing. Like someone had hit the mute button on her emotions. She smiled and said thank you, and inside there was just static. That evening, she sat in her car in the parking garage for 20 minutes, unable to make herself go back to her apartment. Not because anything was wrong, because nothing was right. She was succeeding herself into numbness. Here's what nobody tells you about high-functioning burnout. It doesn't look like failure from the outside. It looks like success. It looks like someone who has their life together. It looks like ambition and discipline and drive. But underneath, you're running on empty. You've forgotten what you're running toward, and you're too tired to figure it out. So, what exactly is high-functioning burnout, and why is it so hard to recognize? Traditional burnout has 3 main components: exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy. You're tired, you stop caring, and your work suffers. Pretty obvious, right? High-functioning burnout is trickier because that third component, reduced efficacy, isn't there. You're still performing. You're still delivering. Your output looks fine, maybe even excellent. But those first 2 components, they're absolutely present. You're exhausted in your bones, and you've developed this cynical, detached relationship with work and life. You're going through the motions brilliantly, but there's no meaning behind them. Think of it like a phone at 1% battery that somehow keeps running all day. Sure, it's technically functional, but it's one notification away from shutting down completely. And more importantly, it's not really working well, it's just working enough. The signs are subtle. You're not calling in sick, but you're definitely sick. Here's what it actually looks like. Your emotional range has narrowed dramatically. You're not exactly depressed. You can still function, still smile when appropriate, still engage in conversations, but genuine joy, excitement, enthusiasm, those feel like emotions other people have. You watch friends get excited about things, and you remember feeling that way once, vaguely, like recalling a dream. You've become a productivity machine. You optimize everything. You batch tasks. You use time blocking. You've got systems for your systems. But here's the catch. None of it actually makes you feel less overwhelmed. You just get better at doing more, which means more gets added to your plate, which means you need better systems, which means, see the cycle? Rest feels impossible. Even when you have downtime, you can't truly rest. You're watching a movie, but also planning next week. You're at dinner, but thinking about emails. You take a vacation, but spend it catching up on work or stressing about what's piling up. Your body might be still, but your mind never stops running. You've lost the plot on why you're doing any of this. Remember when you started this career path? There was probably excitement, vision, purpose. Now you're just checking boxes because that's what you do. Someone asks what you're working toward and you give the rehearsed answer: career growth, financial security, making an impact, but those words don't land in your chest like they used to. Small things feel enormous. A minor change in plans throws you off for hours. A critical email sends you into a spiral. You've got no buffer left, no resilience reserves. You're operating so close to your limit that anything unexpected feels like a crisis. You're irritable in ways you don't recognize. Patient you? That's not quite you anymore. You snap at your partner over dishes. You're short with your team over tiny mistakes. You're frustrated with yourself for being frustrated. And then you feel guilty, which just adds another emotion to manage. Physical symptoms are piling up. Headaches, sure, but also muscle tension, digestive issues, getting sick more often, trouble sleeping despite being exhausted. Your body is literally trying to get your attention, but you're too busy to listen. Here's the uncomfortable truth. High achievers are especially vulnerable to this because the very traits that make you successful also make you susceptible to burnout. You're driven by achievement. That's not a flaw, it's gotten you where you are. But it also means your self-worth is tangled up with your output. You feel valuable when you're producing. Rest feels like laziness. Slowing down feels like falling behind. Your identity is so wrapped up in what you do that you've forgotten how to just be. You have high standards. Again, not inherently bad. But perfectionism is a brutal companion. Nothing is ever quite good enough. You hit a goal and immediately raise the bar. You get praised and think about how it could have been better. You've trained yourself to never be satisfied, which means you never get to enjoy your wins. You're really, really good at pushing through. That's a strength until it becomes your only strategy. You're so practiced at overriding your body's signals: tired, coffee, stressed, power through, overwhelmed, make a better system. You've become an expert at ignoring yourself. You've bought into hustle culture messaging. Whether consciously or not, you've absorbed the idea that busy equals important, that rest is for the weak, that successful people sacrifice, that if you're not constantly grinding, someone else will pass you. So you keep pushing, even when there's nothing left to push with. And here's the real kicker. Society rewards this. Your boss loves that you never say no. Your clients appreciate your quick responses. Your family thinks you're so responsible. You get positive reinforcement for behaviors that are quietly destroying you. The external validation feels good enough that you ignore the internal collapse. The reason high-functioning burnout is so dangerous is precisely because it's high-functioning. You're wearing success like a mask, and that mask is convincing to everyone, including yourself. From the outside, you look like you're thriving. Your LinkedIn says you're winning. Your Instagram shows you're living. Your paycheck says you're valuable. Your calendar says you're important. All the external markers point to success. But success isn't the same as well-being. You can climb the ladder while your mental health descends. You can achieve every goal while losing yourself in the process. You can build an impressive life that feels completely hollow. The mask is so good that even you start believing it sometimes. You think, I can't be burned out, I'm still performing. You compare yourself to people who are obviously struggling and think, I'm fine compared to them. You rationalize, this is just a busy season. It'll calm down after this project, after this quarter, after this promotion. But busy season never ends. There's always another project, another quarter, another goal. The finish line keeps moving because you keep moving it. And meanwhile, you're running yourself into the ground while everyone applauds your pace. Back to Sarah for a moment. That Tuesday evening in the parking garage, that was her wake-up call. Not because anything terrible happened, but because nothing felt anything anymore. She realized she'd been chasing success while running away from herself. She took the next day off, not because she had plans, but because she literally couldn't make herself go to the office. She sat in her apartment and just existed. No productivity, no optimization, no achievement, and it was terrifying. When you've built your entire identity around doing, simply being feels like freefall. But in that discomfort, something shifted. She started asking different questions. Not, how do I do more? But, what do I actually want? Not, how do I optimize this? But why am I doing this at all? Not what's next on my list, but what would make me feel alive again? The answers didn't come immediately. They don't, usually. But the questions themselves were revolutionary. So how do you know if you're experiencing high-functioning burnout? Here are the real questions to ask yourself. When was the last time you felt genuinely excited about something not accomplished? Not relieved it's done, but actually excited? Can you enjoy a free day without guilt? Or do you immediately fill it with productive activities? Do you feel like yourself? Or are you performing a role even when you're alone? What would happen if you stopped? Not practically, emotionally. Does the thought of slowing down feel relaxing or terrifying? Are you working towards something or running away from something? Because there's a difference between being pulled by purpose and pushed by fear. When people ask how you are, is busy your default answer? And more importantly, has busy become your identity? Do you remember your hobbies? Not just what they were, but what they felt like. Can you recall the last time you did something purely for joy? Here's a big one. If you got everything you say you're working toward, the promotion, the achievement, the recognition, do you think you'd feel fulfilled? Or do you suspect you'd just find the next thing to chase? Recognizing high-functioning burnout is step one. But what comes next isn't what you might expect. It's not about optimizing your self-care or adding meditation to your morning routine, though those might help. It's about fundamentally reconsidering your relationship with achievement, rest, and yourself. First, you need to understand that rest is not a reward for productivity. It's a requirement for being human. You don't earn the right to rest by working hard enough. You need rest to work at all, sure, but more importantly, you need rest because you're a person, not a machine. Rest isn't lazy. It's essential. Second, your worth isn't your output. I know you know this intellectually, but do you believe it? Like, really believe it? Can you imagine being valuable while doing nothing? Because until you can separate your identity from your achievements, you'll keep sacrificing yourself for success. Third, success that costs you your well-being isn't success. It's just expensive failure. What's the point of building a beautiful life if you're too exhausted to live it? What's the point of achieving everything on paper if nothing feels meaningful in practice? Sarah didn't quit her job. Plot twist. She didn't need to. What she did was harder than quitting. She started saying no. Not to everything, but to things that didn't align with what she actually wanted. She set boundaries with her time. She stopped checking email after 7 p.m. She scheduled non-negotiable time for things that made her feel human, painting again, actual rest, connections that weren't networking. The first few weeks felt like withdrawal. She felt guilty, anxious, like she was falling behind. Her brain kept screaming that she should be doing more, but she held the boundary. And slowly, space opened up. Space where she could think, feel, remember who she was beyond her job title. Did her career tank? No. Actually, her work improved. When you're not operating from exhaustion, you have access to creativity, insight, and energy that burnout blocks. When you're not trying to prove your worth with every task, you can focus on what actually matters. Turns out, 60 focused hours beats 80 exhausted ones. But more than her career, her life improved. She started enjoying things again. Coffee tasted good. Weekends felt restful. She laughed at something her sister said and realized she'd actually been listening to the conversation. Small moments, but they added up to feeling like herself again. Here's what I want you to understand. If you're listening to this and recognizing yourself in this story, you're not broken. You're not failing. You're not weak. You're someone who's been trying so hard to succeed that you've forgotten success is supposed to feel good. High-functioning burnout tricks you into thinking you're fine because you're functional. But functional isn't the same as flourishing. Surviving isn't the same as thriving. Looking good on paper isn't the same as feeling good in your life. And here's the really important part. You don't have to hit rock bottom to make a change. You don't have to wait for a breakdown. You don't need permission to prioritize your well-being. You can choose differently right now, today, while you're still performing, still achieving, still crushing it from the outside. What if the bravest thing you did this year wasn't pushing harder? What if it was finally allowing yourself to rest? What if success wasn't about doing more, but about doing what actually matters? What if you could achieve and feel good? Wild concept, I know. The work isn't adding more self-care to your optimization routine. The work is questioning why you need to optimize yourself in the first place. The work is getting curious about what you're really chasing and whether it's actually what you want or just what you think you should want. Look, I get it. Everything I've said sounds nice in theory, but you've got a million things to do, and slowing down feels impossible. And besides, you're not that burned out, right? You're managing. You're fine. You've got this. But do you? Or is having it the very thing that's costing you everything else? You don't have to figure this all out today. Start small. Start honest. Start by just noticing. Notice when you're tired and drink coffee instead of rest. Notice when you say yes but mean no. Notice when success feels empty. Notice when you're performing yourself instead of being yourself. Because here's the truth. The life you're building while ignoring yourself won't feel worth living once you get there. And the success that comes at the cost of your well-being is just a prettier version of failure. You deserve more than just functional. You deserve to feel alive in the life you're working so hard to build. This is Mood Era Studio, reminding you that slowing down isn't giving up, it's actually the only way to sustain the pace that matters. Take care of yourself. Not because you've earned it, but because you're worth it, even on days when you produce nothing. Until next time.